Today we're going to take a look at the Wills of Zhou, those who ruled the Zhou Dynasty. Now this was a large dynasty that ruled a huge landmass in China. So their ruling history was roughly 800 years. There were vast tribes, lands, and enemies, and they went through multiple emperors. This is very difficult for rulers because when rule gets passed from one human being to another, it tends to be a very dramatic change. But to do this over 800 years is very interesting. And figuring out how they did this is very relevant to you if you want to express the ruling arts. So successfully ruling spans time, land, and succession. So let's look at some of the principles here. The basis of the Zhou Dynasty, the rulers in the Zhou Dynasty, was divine appointment. They believed in the mandate of heaven. So the ruler was appointed by God. That allowed them to rule as God. And that gave them the authority to do whatever they want. Because how can you argue with someone who's the mouthpiece of God, who's appointed by God? You, therefore, to fight them would have to be fighting against God, and of course that's a battle you cannot win. So claiming divine authority without being God allows you to do whatever you want. But let's look at the implications of this. One of the things that's interesting is the Zhou Dynasty is no longer here. So their process of rule failed eventually. Because claiming divine appointment is very easy. You say, I'm from God, and who can argue with you? No one. However, maintaining divine appointment is a much different matter. It's very difficult to maintain that you're perfect, because if you're God's appointment, you should be perfect. And eventually the people figure out that you're not perfect, so you have to compromise. You have to give some authority and power to them in order that they will continue to follow you and prove that you are indeed divine when you're not. So if you're divine, then your rule does not require anything in the material world. And if you're dependent on anything in this world, then your rule as the will is truly not divine. So what conclusions can we draw here from these ancient rulers of the Zhou Dynasty? First, you need to figure out how you're going to establish your authority. If you intend to rule your world as the will, are you going to base your authority on being appointed by God? Are you going to base your authority upon how good you are at sports, how attractive you are? What is the basis of your authority? And then how are you going to maintain that authority? Because if you place your authority in anything in this world, it will go back to dust. It will decay. And then you'll be left with nothing. So the final option is to actually grow your authority. Instead of trying to maintain it or establish it, you must be a growing authority. The only way to do that is to grow into the likeness of the one who is an authority. And that would be God alone. So as you grow into God's likeness, you become like the one who is authority, and that is something you cannot lose, because it is who you are. How does someone take who you are? They can't. So grow into the likeness of authority, and your authority cannot be taken.